time, I'd like to call this meeting of the Columbus County Board of Education to order. Mr. Coleman, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome. We're packed house tonight, standing room only. Gentlemen, you have before you the final agenda for tonight's meeting. I need a recommendation to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Coleman, second by Mr. Long. Any discussion on the agenda? Anything that needs to be added? Okay. Have a motion on the floor. All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. You also have before you minutes for the November 4th meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Worley,
Second.
second by Mr. Long. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. At this time, it's time to reorganize our board for this year. I'm going to turn the floor over to our board attorney, Mr. Phipps.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the first item of business therein, we have a new member to add to the board and a re-elected member to put back on the board. Miss Emily Grice is here. I believe we have our clerk of court, Mr. Jess Hill, here, who will administer the oath of office.
Before we do that, I do have some recognition. Mr. Coleman, if you'll come out front. I'm going to read you this plaque tonight. This plaque is presented to Randy Coleman to honor your service to the Board of Education. Your guidance and dedication as a board member has strengthened the board the bond between the community and the schools. Thank you for being such an important piece of our team for the last 8 years. Columbus County Board of Education. Thanks, sir.
Wait a minute, Randy.
Wait a minute.
I'm telling y'all.
That's an inside joke. Randy always ate all our candy up.
I just want to say one thing. It's been my honor to serve the community in this county for the last 8 years. I think there's been a lot of great things that's went on in the last 8 years. I want to thank the board for all the help and guidance. And, you know, it's always the children first. And I really appreciate the honor it's been to serve on this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
And now,
Mr. Hill.
All right. Mr. Grice, if you'll step forward, please, members of the family. We've got your name tag up there. Let's make it official, okay? Yes, ma'am, you can.
That's an attorney for you. He'll put it up there crooked.
A little crooked.
Your left hand on the Bible, raise your right. All right. Are you ready? Do you, Emily Grice, solemnly swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will honestly, faithfully, and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Columbus County Board of Education, so help you God? Do you?
I do.
Congratulations. Yes, ma'am. Have you signed this right here, Ms. Grice? If you'll sign both copies for me, please, ma'am. Right there beside the seal, please, ma'am. Congratulations. Yes, ma'am. All right, Mr. Long, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Long. Do you have your wife with you tonight, Mr. Long? There she is, Miss Long. All right, let's see, Miss Long.
Emily, I'm sure I'll let you borrow her.
Yes, congratulations. Miss Long, if you'll step up forward, please, ma'am, and you'll hold the Bible for Mr. Long. If you can step right there. There you go. You can put his left hand on the Bible and raise his right for me, please, ma'am. Do you, Steve Long, solemnly swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will honestly, faithfully, and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Columbus County Board of Education, so help you God, do you?
I do.
All right, congratulations. If you'll sign this for me right here, sign it right there in both spots for me. All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, please sit down. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. We welcome you to the board, Ms. Grice, and we welcome you back to the board, although I don't think you went anywhere except out front.
Congratulations.
Next item for business is the election of chairman for the 2025 school year. Pursuant to that, do I have any nominations for the office of chairman?
I nominate Steve Long.
Steve Long has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Is there a second for Steve's, although it's not required? Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. Steve, you have been nominated to serve as chairman. Do I have a motion to close nominations at this time?
So moved.
I have a motion by our current chairman. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor of closing the nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Nominations are closed. Do I have a motion for the acceptance of Steve Long to serve as chairman by acclamation?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of electing Steve Long as chairman by acclamation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Long. Now for the nominations for vice chairman. Do I have a nomination for vice chairman?
I'll nominate Chris Worley.
Chris Worley has been nominated. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? If not, do I hear a motion that nominations be closed?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a first? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor of closing nominations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, likewise. The ayes have it, and nominations are closed. Do I have a motion for the acceptance of Chris Worley as the vice chairman for the 2025 school year?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
With a motion and a second, all those in favor of closing and accepting by acclamation Chris Worley for the position of vice chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Worley. And now I get to give up the podium, which I never get for very long anyway. Thank you. And now if we can have those officers sworn in. Mr. Hill.
Yep, we're
Pardon
getting
me.
Emily, you didn't have to sit by me long.
You were supposed to be sitting next to me. They always put the new rookie here.
It was good company.
I got cheated.
Long once again. Ms. Long? Stand up here. Just hold that Bible for him, please. Now we'll let them get through. Get everything worked out. Mr. Long, if you'll put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand for me, please, sir. Do you, Steve Long, solemnly swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you'll honestly, faithfully, and impartially discharge your duties as chairman of the Columbus County Board of Education, so help you God do?
I do.
Congratulations, Mr. Long. Yes, sir. Mr. Long, if you'll sign both copies of that, please, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley, you'll put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right for me, please, sir. Do you, Chris Worley, solemnly swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will honestly, faithfully, and impartially discharge your duties as Vice Chairman of the Columbus County Board of Education, so help you God do? I will. Congratulations, my friend. Come sign this, Mr. Worley, right here on both sheets of paper. Yes, sir. All right, that's it.
With both officers sworn in, we're back into regular session with the exception of I'd like to thank our prior chairman for his service and the exemplary job that you did. It's been a pleasure working with you as chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Long, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Ronnie. I'd like to thank you also for all you've done for us for the last 3 years. Been through some tough times, and you've led us well.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, we're going to, Mr. Becker, do you have anything we got to appoint the board, or do you want to make the recommendation, or?
Yes, sir. This time, we do need to handle the appointment of the board attorney for 2025. Mr. Bill Phipps did submit a bid to serve for the 2025 school year. If there's any discussion.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we appoint Mr. Bill Phipps for the 25-26 school year, 24-25 school year.
I do make that recommendation.
Have a motion for that.
Motion.
Have a second. Mr. Strickland, motion. Mr. Worley, second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion's carried. Mr. Phipps, you're now the attorney again.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this point, we're going to go to public comment. Mr. Phipps.
Public comments, Mr. Chairman, we have none tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, we'll turn it back over to Mr. Beck to do some recognitions here.
All right. So for our special presentations and recognitions, Mr. Chairman, we first would like to call to the table Dr. Dan Strickland and Mr. David Gore from the Brunswick Electric Membership Corporation Bright Ideas Grant. And they have a few words that they would like to say, and I think they have a check they would like for the board members to come up after they speak and take a photo, and then we'll recognize the actual recipients.
You want me to hold that for you? I got it.
Thank you for having us here tonight, especially on this most auspicious occasion, and congratulations to those that were elected and seated. We're lucky to have the school board that we have in this county, and we thank you. On behalf of Brunswick Electric, we are here tonight. We presented about 2 weeks ago the Bright Idea grant winners for Columbus County. I think it totaled $15,000. For those of you that don't know Bright Ideas, it was started in Columbus County by Judy Gore 30 years ago. Today, 900 co-ops around the world are part of Bright Ideas. And I'm proud to say that our co-op has given over $800,000 in the last 30 years, and North Carolina co-ops have given $15 million to our teachers and our educators. And we thank you, and we thank you for what you do, and we're just so proud to be part of being able to help in your innovation and creativity. Thank you. David.
Thank you, David. Congratulations again, folks. Look forward to hearing some great things continue in Columbus County with the board and education and so forth. I spoke to Mr. Beck this past week and also Kelly Jones today, and just briefly, Bright Ideas opens up again for teachers to apply for grants this coming April through September. So principals and teachers who are here today and folks working with the district office, please encourage your teachers to apply. We think we may even have more money this coming year to give to education, to teachers. And so it'll open in April and go through September. And we'll award those again in October and November. 3 more things if I can mention real quick. We have a scholarship program too, Brunswick Electric. And in past years, we have selected 1 student from Columbus County, 1 from Brunswick County to receive a scholarship. This year, we've changed that format. Every high school in Columbus County and Brunswick County will receive a $2,000 scholarship. So please encourage your students, seniors to apply this year. That opens up, it's online now, it's mid-December now through mid-March, so the scholarship applications. The next thing, quickly, is a youth tour for rising juniors and seniors. That tour is 1 student from Brunswick County, 1 from Columbus County, and a student will be selected to go to Washington, D.C. this summer for an entire week, expenses paid for a leadership seminar and a conference with students from all over the nation. So please encourage your students to apply for that also. And the last thing, for middle grades, a sports camp scholarship for 7th and 8th graders, rising 6th or 7th graders for next year. And 1 student, a girl and 1 boy will be selected to go to camps. The boy will go to UNC Chapel Hill basketball camp for a week, and the young lady will go to NC State basketball camp for a week. So some great things happening. Please encourage your students to apply for these grants. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And did you want to get the photo before we call the recipients, or would
Can
you
you
like?
call them and
I
we'll start
certainly
together? How
can.
about that, okay?
Okay. The following are the recipients of the Bright Ideas Grant for 2024-2025 school year. Mr. Fred Mason from CCCA, if you would come up. Constance Falk, CCCA. Malachi Cobb, East Columbus Junior Senior High School. Sharon Harris, East Columbus Junior Senior High School. Jeffrey Rudnick, East Columbus Junior Senior High School. Brianna Seckman, South Columbus High School. Cheryl Cartret, South Columbus High School. Heather Herring, West Columbus High School. Erica Kinlaw, West Columbus School. Cassie Hoffman, Williams Township School. And Kathleen Trost, Williams Township School. And board members, we need to come up and get up to the photo.
Would you folks hold this? Okay, the board members behind.
Bunch back in there. Thank you, sir.
Looks like we planned. Glad to do it.
Congratulations, y'all.
And Dan Jess didn't believe I'd do it, but I'd be remiss if when I leave, I didn't say vote for Jess, he'll work it Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may I forgot to make one comment, if I may. One of these teachers that was announced today, he's not here this evening. Brunswick Electric contacted me last week about selecting one of the variety of teachers from Columbus County for a featured article in the state magazine, Carolina Country. Maybe some of you have seen this before. And so we have selected Fred Mason from Early College for that. He's won several awards with his students and several grants through Brunswick Electric. So we'll be contacting him, okay?
Before you- Dr. Strickland, before y'all leave, I'd like to make one comment. The amount of support that Brunswick Electric has showed our school district and Brunswick County School District over the last many years is just phenomenal. We appreciate it the most in the world. Thank you from this board and from this school district to Brunswick Electric.
Thank you, folks. Have a good meeting.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next we have the Educator of Excellence Award that was awarded to Miss Heather Tilley, and Miss McCready will come up and present that. And while they're finding Miss Tilley, that recognition is for the Exceptional Children's Department, and we recommend someone each year for the Educator of Excellence, and they're recognized in Greensboro at the EC conference.
We had to go find her in the hallway. Okay, Columbus County Schools nominated Heather Tilley as our Educator of Excellence for the 24-25 school year. Ms. Tilley is an EC resource teacher at Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, and she was honored at the state EC conference in Greensboro in November. Ms. Tilley is the only EC teacher at her elementary school. She is a team of one. She goes above and beyond every single day to meet the needs of her students with disabilities. Ms. Tilley has a positive attitude and is always willing to collaborate with her colleagues and learn new instructional strategies. Ms. Tilley is an experienced, knowledgeable educator. She communicates consistently with her students' parents and related service providers. Columbus County Schools is fortunate to have Ms. Tilley as part of our EC department. She's truly a teacher leader. This is for you.
Everybody can see better and I'll shoot a picture of it.
Very well. Very well.
No, it's okay. No, no. Yeah. That works. Congratulations.
We're just saying. Yeah, I know.
Okay, next we have our Academic Growth Awards for the schools. These awards are presented for achieving and exceeding expected academic growth under North Carolina's accountability system. These awards showcase dedication to the academic achievement in your school system of both students and educators. First, we would like to recognize Chavern Elementary School. Mr. Bland. Okay. Next, we'll recognize Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School. Dr. Hill.
Stay up here.
Okay, next we have Nakana Middle School, Ms. Cullifer.
Great job.
Old Dock Elementary School, Mrs. Falk.
Great job.
And finally, Williams Township School, Mrs. Simmons.
got to come in the middle. I did, like I always did. No, we're not going anywhere.
Okay, next we're going to recognize our YAM art and poetry winners. Our YAM art winners by school, we'll start with Acmedelco Elementary School, Morgan Pridgeon, Aline Vega Carvajal, Gretel Dela Cruz, Marlon Sanchez, J.C. Sandlin, and Dulce Gonzalez Gonzalez. From CCCA, we have Grace Watts, Daisy Cribb, and Wesley Stewart. From East Columbus Junior Senior High School, we have McKenna Ware Rudnick, Brittany Mitchell, Leanne Hernandez, Sophia Alvarado Rivera, Brittany Mitchell, Brentley Wilson, Angela Nadelka Dela Cruz Jimenez, Melina Graham, and Luxiana Cruz Perez. From Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, we have Maya Jacobs, Anaya Spalding, Mackenzie Gerald, India Salmons, Alina Taylor, Felix Castellan Baltazar, and these students are from South Columbus. Greenlee Hardy,
Congratulations.
Molly Mears, India Salmons, Alina Taylor, and Gradys Avellino. All right, from Tabor City School, we have Devore Redondo,
Congratulations.
Andrea Powell, Mia Denton, and Emmanuel Hernandez.
Congratulations.
From West Columbus High School, we have Autumn Todd, Samantha Strickland, Nehemiah Williams. From Williams Township, we have Johnny Dominguez, Keelan Long, Julia Bailey, and McKenna Ward. Okay, next we would like to recognize,
You want to do a picture here?
Can we do
yes, we do.
And folks, you can see most of the artwork out in the lobby. Hope you get an opportunity to see it before you leave. You guys, wonderful job. Now you get to
Come on in.
practice the concept of balance to see if we can get everybody over here equally. Make your teachers proud.
Let's make 3 rows. Some of y'all who are a little smaller, get to the.
These first 5 right here, step up,
And you-
take a step.
Great. All right.
And then the rest of you slide this way.
Yeah.
Slide this way.
Yeah. Everybody be where you can look over the shoulders of the people in front of you. That's really nice. We don't need to see the board. Way to go, y'all. Congratulations.
Great job, guys.
Okay, next we're just going to recognize the teachers. You do not have to come forward. Bree Giddings, Jeff Rudnick, Jennifer Sams, Connie Falk, Princess Grantham, Allison Ellis, Amy Baker, Kathy Trost, Brittany Ward, Myra Manis, Whitney Hearn, and Ashley Holmes.
They are rock stars, all of them.
You did a great job. Okay, next we have the poetry winners from the Yam Festival. From Chapman Elementary School, first place, Kenya Brown. From Williams Township School, second place, Indiana Burris. From Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, third place, Cambry Cummins. From Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, honorable mention, Terrell Antone. Those are your K-5 award winners. From 6-8, first place from Williams Township, we have Piper Burris. Second place from Acmedelco Elementary School, we have Dulce Gonzalez. Third place from Williams Township School, we have Cadence Strickland. From Williams Township School, honorable mention, Wiley Cartret.
Congratulations.
All right, grades 9 through 12 from South Columbus High School, Michael Williams was first place. McKenna Ware Rudnick from East Columbus Junior Senior High School was second place. Kenneth Shane McMillan from South Columbus High School, third place. Lillian Long from CCCA, honorable mention. And we hope to see these students again when we recognize the winners of the L.R. Ammons contest.
I got sliding.
Here you go.
Well, that was easy.
Way to go, y'all. Congratulations.
Keep writing.
That's right.
Keep writing.
Good job, ladies.
Okay, each year I have the honor of choosing from dozens of student entries one card that will represent our school system. You can see all of these entries on the board in the lobby and on our school media pages. Our Christmas card winner this year was Miss Madison McMillan from South Columbus High School. Her card was sent to every school district in the state. Madison couldn't be here tonight, but we have a framed copy for her as Mr. Jones is presenting. So great job, Madison. Okay, next we have poster contest honorable mentions from the North Carolina School Board Association annual poster contest. Those winners were Easton Boothman, Acmedelco Elementary School, Christopher Martinez Jacob, Acmedelco Elementary School, Haley Ellis, Acmedelco Elementary School, Colton McKeithen, Old Dock Elementary School, Levi Hardy, Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, and Langston Keel, Williams Township School.
Congratulations, sir. That's what I'm saying. Congratulations, sir.
Here, just hold out, we'll get you yours.
Congratulations, kids, way to go. And I tell you what, you're not Easton, I guess, okay. Let's put that down so it won't confuse people when they read the paper. Thank you. But I'll get your name, your correct name.
Good job.
Good job. Next, we would like to introduce the inaugural robotics teams from Acmedelco Elementary School and Tabor City School. Starting with Acmedelco Elementary School, Alex Fernandez, Chandler Jacobs, Christopher Ripley, Juan Martinez, Grant Justice, Caden Smith, Kylie Locklear, Eli Lopez, Jaden Buchanan, Melina Wilson, and their coach Shonda Hooper.
Congratulations, sir.
And Ms. Hooper has an example of one of the robots the students built.
Congratulations.
Good job, Grant.
Okay, from Tabor City School, Aaron Scott, Ariana Montgomery, Bentley Tuberville, Callie Lovett, Carly Lovett, Colton Draper, Corbin Lovett, Courtney Powell, Demel Lewis, DeQuincy Long, Elijah Arrojo, Emily Davis, Gustavo Andres Perez, Henley Ward, John David Stubbs, Jude Neely, Kaisley Benton, Lily Parker, Mason Tompkins, Max Stamper, Mia Denton, Shakira Elmore, Terry Riggins, Tristan Great, Tristan Williams, Coach Marilyn Elliott. And we
Kids, the three of y'all that are over here, can you get to the other end of the line so you balance it out? Okay, that's great.
Mr. Beck, I wanted to say Miss Angela Tyler is also a co-coach. She jumped in here at the last and really helped us. I do want to say this program was made possible by a grant from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So these were the very first 2 robotics teams in the county. The good news is the grant funding gave us enough funding to spread it to all the middle schools next year. And these guys were the trailblazers. We had a competition at East Columbus. They did a great job. And they actually programmed the robot that Ms. Hooper had. So you actually have to program it using code. It's a lot of fun and very, very hard, right? Yeah.
Congratulations, y'all.
Can't wait for next year.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
let's see. Yes, that's it. I would like to say we have a lot of very talented students in this district, and we're extremely proud of them. That's very evident tonight. That was a lot of students, and they all do an awesome job.
Okay, we'll move to curriculum, instruction, and accountability now with our school improvement plans.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, first with our school improvement plan presentations, we have East Columbus Junior Senior High School. Open this up.
I've done what I'm supposed to do to use the arrows.
Good evening. I'm Ms. Huff, the principal at East Columbus, and this evening I'll be presenting information about our school improvement plan. Of course, our mission is celebrating diversity, fostering excellence, and nurturing lifelong learning. Our vision at East Columbus is to create a nurturing educational community that promotes diversity, resilience, and of course equips our students for lifelong learning. We are motivating our students for a rapidly changing world by, of course, emphasizing perseverance, honesty, and compassion. And of course, we want to prepare our students daily for being committed to an effective environment and establishing a positive academic behavior and social culture. Our current enrollment at East Columbus is 579, with 9% of that population being our EC students. Also, 9% of our students are AIG, and we have 8% that are EL. With our demographics, 32% Black, 26% white, 18% Hispanic, 12% American Indian, 11% two or more races, and they have 0.00% that's other. So of course, we are an extremely diverse school. We have 73 employees, 41 teachers, 6 teacher assistants, 10 support staff, and we have 3 administrators. Me being the building administrator, we have 1 assistant principal for middle school and 1 assistant principal for high school. And looking at our school improvement successes from last year, we did have an increase in Math 1 of 17 points. We had an increase of Math 3 with 19 points in proficiency. We are very proud that 100% met growth across all subgroups in our 7th grade math. And then, of course, in our middle school English, 13 out of 15 subgroups met growth at 87%. We do have quarterly academic success celebrations, and that is growing. This year, as the new principal, I am changing the culture of that, where I'm inviting the entire school to celebrate that. In the past, and with our first quarter, only the students that were being recognized were present, but moving forward, starting with the second quarter, the entire school will be present for that. We do have monthly cultural programming to promote and celebrate diversity. We have had 2 programs thus far, our Hispanic and Native American program, and that has been very successful at East Columbus. And looking at our academic snapshot, of course, we did end as a D school with 43.8% in achievement score. We had 50% in school growth, and of course, overall, we were not met with a negative 11.13 index. And moving forward with our school attendance data snapshot, last year, our attendance rate was at 88.4. This year, we have made progress. We have maintained being above the 90% mark. September, of course, we were at 92.7, October, 91.3, November, 92.9. One of the things that we have attributed to this is, as the new principal, I have put a lot of emphasis on arriving to school on time. I do weekly call-outs on Sundays, and we also do reminders through Facebook as well as text messages to our parents. As a staff, we have seen improvements with that is extremely effective. With our new social worker, we have done our attendance letters, and we have done lots of truancy meetings, and that seems to be very impactful with improving our attendance rate, so we're going to keep that up. Our special population data snapshot, again with our AIG students, in terms of their successes on last year, our AIG students were at a negative 2.7, EC was at negative 2.3, our EL students are negative 2.4. And so looking at this holistically, one of the things that we decided that we need to do is make sure we specialize and look at our students in the different subgroups and different areas. And of course, we are capitalizing, looking at writing across the curriculum, which impacts all of our students. And our staff this year has done a tremendous job adapting that. Our behavior data snapshot. Last year, we had a total of 500 major infractions. This year, For September, we were at 34% major incidents, October 37, and November was 60%. I will say, majority of those have come from one particular grade level with our middle school. I have met with our counselor, with the assistant principal for middle school, the teachers, as well as our resource officer. We have rearranged their schedule to provide more structure. We have changed some student schedules around, so we are still working towards providing support to decrease our number of referrals, and particularly in our middle school area. Culture data snapshot. According to our teacher working surveys, these are some areas that we would like to emphasize. Of course, in the past, we have had a high number of students that are using tobacco products. I will say that that number has significantly declined or is declining. We do have consistent restroom checks during transition, as well as periodically throughout the day. Our resource officer is visible and checking along with the assistant principals and myself, so that is improving. One positive, 93% of our teachers, according to the teacher working survey, they feel proud to work at the school. So we do have a group of individuals that are invested. And then, of course, the community support, based on the survey, was at 100%. And I will say, as the principal at East Columbus, we'll have to say that the community support is astounding. In particular, with our Swamp Keepers, which is our educational support system, they do a great job partnering with our school and getting the community and our parents involved. Our school improvement goals. By the end of 2025, East Columbus will successfully have increased shared investment, urgency, and ownership among administration, staff, and students to drive overall school-wide academic improvement. Our ultimate goal is, of course, to get out of D status and move to a C status by the 2025-26 school year. And we must maintain a 55 or higher to achieve this. We are well on our way. Some of the things that we are doing is having our regular PLCs. We are utilizing iExcel, as well as iReady, having regular data checks, data talks, and using data trackers with our students, our administrative team, and support staff. We are utilizing our walkthroughs and providing regular information to teachers, and that has also been helpful. With our staff culture, East Columbus will enhance teacher investment and ownership in building a positive school culture by fostering trust, leadership, and consistent communication across the campus. This goal will be measured by, we talked about using biannual staff culture surveys, increasing annual staff retention rate, and stable staff attendance rate over 90%. Success will also indicate teachers feeling valued, having a voice in school decisions, and are motivated to stay and contributing to the stable, collaborative, and communicative school environment. We are providing teachers with more opportunities to have a voice in the teacher selection process. They are involved in different aspects of the school, so that is also improving. Our student culture. So at East Columbus, our goal is to have students be invested in their academic success and school experiences, as well as in extracurricular activities, by fostering a sense of urgency and active participation. Again, we have our quarterly academic success programs. We do provide the monthly programs to celebrate the diversity. We are supporting our extracurricular programs, and we do look forward to, in the next semester especially, implementing. We did have clubs our first semester, but we want to improve on having clubs provided for our students. I'm not sure what happened, Mr. Jones. Okay. Thank you. Our 3 school year performance goals, again, of course, by the end of this year, we were at a 45, our ultimate goal is 55, so we looked at slicing that in half, so by the end of this year, we would like to be at a 49.1. Of course, by the end of 2025-26, we want to be at a 55, which will put us at C status. And moving beyond that, we would like to be at a 58, which will maintain a C status. We are utilizing our Excel, our Ready, along with our North Carolina check-in data to monitor our progression towards this particular goal of the 49.1. Finally, challenges and opportunities for success. Of course, our school is facing significant challenges in the terms of improving learning outcomes and narrowing achievement gaps from middle school to high school. We have set up departmental meetings that allow for vertical planning between our middle school and high school to discuss areas of concerns as well as how we can close those achievement gaps. With our post-secondary success, we are monitoring our graduation rates because that has been declining along with our ACT Work Keys proficiency. With our student attendance and engagement, again, our attendance and our tardies has been an issue. We noticed that chronically our first period tends to have more tardies than other tardies throughout the school day. So again, encouraging students to come on time. That happens weekly with the call-outs, having those meetings and those follow-ups with our school social worker. And our teachers are also lending a helping hand and reaching out to students and parents with attendance concerns. Strong culture for investment from both the staff and the community. Again, finding ways to have our students and our staff as well as our community to maintain investment in our school. And then finally, we would like to have school leadership and staff that are invested in training instructional practices to improve achievement and engagement within our school. Questions?
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board?
Just one from me.
Okay.
On the tardies that you mentioned, are we accumulating those and dealing with absences, or what are we doing to improve it?
Yes, sir. As mentioned in my presentation, so with the tardies, we do track those where parents receive a notification after the child has received the first 3 tardies. That's either email, phone call, between myself, the social worker, and the teachers. We are contacting parents. I will say with our new social worker, Ms. Mears, being added to the east side, she has done a tremendous job with sending out those attendance letters and having those truancy meetings. And the feedback that I just received from PLCs this week from my teachers is making a difference. Students are coming. We are still working on tardies. That seems to be a cultural thing on that side with students not having a sense of urgency to get to school on time. But again, through conversations, phone calls, and encouraging them. In my weekly call-outs, I will say we encourage our students to please get to school by 7:55. And so that's helping some, but we still have a ways to go. But we are tracking it and warning parents and sending out the truancy letters regularly.
And Ms. Huff, I appreciate your attention to the attendance. That was very nice to see that the attendance is up. So thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And I will say I've also added a school-wide incentive that our first one will take place this week. So that's another way that we're tracking it, trying to provide something positive for those that do come on time.
Don't feel like you're by yourself. Tardies are a problem everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So you keep
Yeah.
working.
I don't know which one of you it was. It was either Nakina or Old Doc. I just saw perfect attendance posted today on social media. So I think it was you, wasn't it? Nakina? Okay, I thought so. So, that social media recognition in the social media age helps as well, so.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I'll add, Ms. Huff, I do appreciate hearing the word urgency in several parts of your presentation, because I think you're right. It's a cultural thing. There's a lack of urgency maybe there. And I do see myself, you putting an urgency into the school. And I love the fact that you've got those regular walkthroughs in the classrooms. If teachers know you're walking through, and students do too. So presence is everything. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huff.
Hold on,
I'm sorry.
The behavior group that you say in middle school, are they new to your school, or are they a class that has been in the school for a year or more?
Great question. They are brand new to our school.
So you have no data. My next question was going to be, does it follow the same group, or is it the same coming in every year, the lower age group coming in?
No, sir.
But
So
you-
last year, I was the middle school assistant principal.
Right.
And the seventh grade group we had last year did not have the same type concerns. So this is brand new.
So this
But
is
again,
an
we're being
individual.
proactive. And one thing, this week I had the privilege of conducting walkthroughs with one of the elementary principals, and we had a very great discussion on how we can help those rising sixth graders to better transition into East Columbus. It is a shock to them being at a larger school, having more responsibility. And I was sharing with her, it's important that we group students based on academic concerns, but you don't want to put a whole lot of strong personalities in the same group. So we are going to work together this coming year and making sure that the way, she said the groups that she has now, the way they're set up is working well. So I want to make sure I get that, not just from Ms. Lentha, also from Dr. Hill, what's working well at their school, so we can help transition that to East Columbus.
Okay, and on your survey, 85% of the drug and alcohol use, exactly, explain that, 85% of your kids use it, or 85% of your staff say some kids use it?
85% felt like they were using a lot. That, I will say, coming into East Columbus last year, and last year was my first year, that was a huge issue with students vaping in particular. We've had some random cases where narcotics was involved, but the vaping was huge. Vaping in the restroom. And a lot of that was taking place during transition. Now, I probably can count on one hand how many we have accumulated this year, simply because we are present. And being visible during class changes, being visible during lunch, being visible just throughout the day really does minimize that, because now they know, and we just do random checks. We watch the camera systems, and when we feel like there's something suspicious going on, we go and check it out. And we've been able to capitalize that and minimize it. So that's not as large moving from last year to this year.
Right, great. One more. How would you rate your staff absences compared to your student absences?
Great question. So our staff absences last year was right at 10%. This year, we're only at 3% so far.
Oh, my goodness, that's really good.
That's good.
Great job. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I got one thing, since they had to keep on. I was gonna try to let you get on out of here, but they had to keep on. So it's mainly a comment. So I know that we're working on the new school, and everybody's proud of it, and it's gonna be great on the East End. But I will tell you that there is so much learning and so much that we can learn from this for the rest of our district, how you're having to have middle school and high school together, and now you're having to collaborate with our elementary school to understand these kids and to get them all on track. That will be invaluable to us as a district in the coming years, I believe.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, sir.
I'll make one
Keep up
comment
the good
too.
work.
Thank you.
I'll make one comment too, just kind of piggybacking on what Chris said. But I think zoning in on your problem areas that you mentioned and changing schedules and not having all the personalities, just that level of detail, I think is very good.
Yes, sir. I'm very detail oriented. And so I've actually, even like last year when I was just the assistant principal, I asked for feedback from the counselors of the elementary schools to help me, because I don't know the students. So that input is extremely valuable. And once we got settled in the first quarter and we saw that changes need to be made, we made those changes right away.
If I may ask a question, in the past, I know at East Columbus, to help with that transition piece from the elementary schools into a junior, senior high school, which is huge for sixth graders. There was a summer, like a 3-day boot camp, so to speak. I don't remember that East Columbus did that this summer.
We did not.
Okay.
One of the
Do you
things
think
that
that would be something to look?
So in my previous experience, because I have 15 years of experience in middle school,
Yes,
we've
ma'am.
done it. It can go either way. One of the things that Ms. Lentha recommended that I come back to her school and actually spend time with those students at her school.
Fantastic.
And set some expectations. So we're going to try that approach. Like I said, I had opportunity to do it this past Thursday. We'll see how that works. And moving forward, that may be an idea that we set up some type of boot camp for our newcomers.
Well, the good news is, as Mr. Worley said, there's a new school coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sounds like you're on the right track.
Thank you, Ms. Hook.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next up, we have Nakana Middle School, Ms. Gofford.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me preface the presentation this evening by saying school improvement is a continuous process, so I apologize as we go throughout our presentation. Some changes were made last week when the school improvement team met, so these changes are for the better. They may not be on your presentation, so I apologize.
Can we get hers changed?
And while he's doing that, I'll go ahead and say that our mission is to empower students to responsibly engage in learning, maximize their potential, and become prepared for success. And our vision is to accelerate academic growth and maximize the potential of every student every day. And our special populations, we are currently at 190 students for our enrollment. 7% of those are EC students, 15.7 AIG, and 4.7 are migrant or English language learners. We do have a growing Hispanic population. In the last 3 weeks, we have gained at least 2 non-English speaking students. So we're working really hard to help provide the resources that they need to adapt to the school. We have a total of 29 employees, 13 teachers. 4 of those are shared. Just to point out there that 4 of those teachers are new, and we're waiting to still find a band teacher. So basically, at such a small school, we will have 39% this year of new teachers at Nakana Middle School. And of course, 7 support staff, and Uno being the administrator. Academic successes, Nakana Middle School increased school performance from 61 to 62%, school growth from 70.9 to 76.9, and our school growth index increased from negative 1.82 to negative 0.62. And for the cultural successes, which I apologize, the 2024 Teacher Working Conditions Survey results shared that 100% of the respondents agree that overall my school is a good place to work and learn. The Teacher Working Conditions Survey also revealed that 100% of the respondents agree that school safety issues are addressed quickly at Nakana Middle School. Additionally, we provided a Hispanic Heritage Month research and project opportunity for the students, and that was done via the Media Center with our media coordinator. We also had elections for our Student Advisory Council. Those students were elected by their peers. They had to run a campaign during the same time as the voting season, so they were able to participate in that process. They had to nominate, they had to create posters, they had to give a speech to their grade level peers. And those students are being used to gather feedback and suggestions on activities, school spirit activities, and other things that impact the school. We also have monthly PBIS celebrations, and we also have a monthly attendance recognition for our students and our staff. Our staff members who have perfect attendance receive the vouchers that they're able to use on the non-instructional days per board policy, and they absolutely love that. They can't wait for me to walk around with those vouchers at the end of the month after I've signed the timesheet. So, next, our academic data snapshot. So as you can see, Nakina Middle School has consistently increased academic performance with the school growth at 76.9. We're at school performance of 62, and then of course negative 0.62 for school growth. School attendance data snapshot. For the 23-24 school year, the average daily attendance rate was 91.89%, and the chronic absentee rate was 54%. For September of this year, our average daily attendance was 93.7, and our chronic absentee rate was 1%. For October, our average daily attendance was 93.6, and November, 92. Our chronic absentee rate has decreased tremendously. We currently only have about 10 students who have chronic absenteeism, which is the 10 or more unexcused absences. I would like to say I was in court this morning regarding an issue with a student, but also I was able to attend the truancy court because this was the first time they were rolling out the new program with Judge Chandler, and they were very adamant about the importance of students attending school. They also made sure to tell the parents that they would be held accountable if they did not send their children to school. So we appreciate that support that's coming through from the court system, and also our school social workers who are helping us to follow up in those situations. We do have attendance meetings with parents when students reach the 10-day limit, and at that time having those personal conversations with the parents to see if there's something that we can do to help decrease attendance issues. And also if we need to determine that we will not accept any more parent notes, but only doctor's notes. So major takeaways. Our attendance shows that chronic absenteeism was at 54% last year versus the state average, which is 27%. Our average daily attendance rate for the first 3 months of this school year is 1.2% higher than the overall average for 23-24. And we would also attribute our decrease in chronic absenteeism to communication with parents and guardians. At the beginning of the school year, we did have our parents to sign the board policy on attendance, and we kept those so that when we have the attendance meetings, we remind the parents that they did sign that. They are aware of what the expectations are. Also, the teachers call the parents when the student has had 3 absences. They make the first point of contact before anyone else does. And we do promote the use of PowerSchool, where parents can log on or receive that notification when their students are absent. Our special population data snapshot. So we have 30 AIG students, and they did not meet growth. For the 23-24 school year, we have 17 EC students, 9 EL students, and 5 migrant students. So the major takeaway there is that although our AIG data shows that our students overall made growth of negative 1.93 in reading, we did not in math. We were at negative 3.09. And our EC subgroup is 7% of our total population, which is very low in comparison to the district and state average of 13%. And I can honestly say we'd like to attribute that to the great instruction at Old Dock, where they catch those students early on and provide the interventions and support that are needed. So our behavior snapshot for the 23-24 school year, 77% of the referrals were minor incidences and 23% were major. In comparison to this year, in September, 90% of the referrals were minor and 9 major, and in October, 93% were minor and 7% major. Now, to put that into perspective, we have a total of 74 minor referrals at this point and only 10 major. And so what that means is at 74 minors, those are things that the teachers have addressed in the classroom, either by parent phone call or loss of privilege or some type of redirection by the teacher in the classroom. And the goal is the more minor referrals you see, the less major referrals you have, because that's your intervention. And at Nakina, we have a strong culture centered around building relationships with the students. Again, I have to credit the teachers for taking the time to do that and have those conversations with the students. We have made modifications to processes and procedures that have also reduced the opportunities for students to make poor choices during transitions or bathroom breaks. And our teachers are continuing to refine the process of morning meetings where they connect with the students to kind of get a temperature check for what they're thinking and feeling for the day as well. And our culture snapshot. So, when agree and strongly agree responses are combined, the kind of middle school exhibits higher scores than the district and state average in 3 key areas. One would be retention. 100% of the respondents agreed that Nakina Middle School is a good place to work and learn, that school leadership helps teachers improve instruction, and that school safety issues are addressed quickly. One thing that we are working on this year and was a key focus at the beginning of the school year was the amount of non-instructional time that was provided to the teachers throughout the day for planning. So we worked on creating a master schedule that provided equitable planning time for all the teachers. And we've also implemented a duty-free lunch schedule that allows them to have duty-free lunch, not every day, but we rotate on a weekly basis so they have that opportunity to step away and have a few minutes of peace as they try to eat their lunch. And then our school improvement goals. So our academic goal is by June 6th of 2025, Nakina Middle School will increase student proficiency by 3% across all subjects and grade levels from 57.7 to 59.43%, which is aligned with the district goal that by June 26, 100% of Columbus County schools will receive a letter grade of C or higher. We will do that by the teachers attended an introduction to the lesson planning process in August. Administration will complete at least 2 walkthroughs per teacher each week and share the feedback data to all staff monthly. I had a conversation with my colleagues a couple of weeks ago, and I said, look, if you need something, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. I said, but otherwise, unless the building is on fire, I will be in your classrooms. So if you're looking for me, find me in a classroom. Administration and the school improvement team will develop and implement a master schedule that provides adequate planning and instructional time for all grade levels. Administration will also monitor classroom instruction for the execution of standard-based lessons via learning walks and walkthroughs. And we have scheduled bi-weekly vertical PLCs by subject area to analyze data and modify instructional strategies. So, for example, today, during our vertical PLC, we were discussing our middle-of-the-year goals for our students for iReady. They will take their iReady middle-of-the-year diagnostics, and we were looking at their performance at the end of the year on the EOG versus where they're supposed to be at the middle of the year, because they are having those individual data conferences with the students, and we'll also share that information with the parents prior to taking the middle of the year diagnostic assessment in January, and then they will have a post-conference with the students as well. And of course, Administration will provide instructional feedback and support to teachers and collaborate with district curriculum coaches to provide additional support as well. And our school climate and culture goal. By June 26, Nakina Middle School will see an increase in the number of staff and students that become actively engaged and who are self-aware, caring, reflective, responsible, and growth-oriented, with a 90% or higher satisfaction rate on a student learning conditions survey and the North Carolina Teaching Conditions Survey. And this is aligned with the district plan, which says that Columbus County Schools will see an increase in the number of staff and students that become engaged and active learners who are self-aware, respectful, responsible, etc. We will do that by implementing daily morning meetings, implementing attendance interventions aimed at reducing chronic absenteeism, establish a student advisory council to plan, promote, and provide feedback on activities, incentives, and recognition. Teachers with perfect attendance will receive vouchers per board policy to use on non-instructional days. Teachers will have pre-conferences with students before and after they take the diagnostic assessments. And students and staff will be recognized for meeting goals and growth. So as part of our 3-year school performance goals, 2024, our goal is to be at 65, which is a C, with a school achievement goal of 61 and school growth of 80, and by 25-26 at 67, and 26-27, 71. Challenges and opportunities for success. Again, as mentioned before, we currently have 4 new teachers, CTE, EC, math, and hopefully after tonight's board meeting, a new PE teacher. We're still looking for a band teacher. Equitable planning time and duty-free lunch. An increase in growth among our AIG students. Focused interventions, and continuing to improve the attendance rate. And in regards to our AIG students, I know that's something that we've talked about, especially the last year or so. And we are looking at our iReady data for our AIG students and those students that have leveled out or basically have mastered all of the standards for their grade level. We are collaborating with the instructional coaches and Ms. Hunter to look at possibly moving those students to iExcel at the 9th grade level to further extend their growth and knowledge in those content areas. Additionally, we are working to create focused intervention groups specifically for our AIG students. As we all know, AIG students are the hardest students to grow. So they typically kind of get pushed to the side while we work with the lower and middle groups. But we have put that to the forefront as one of our focuses to make sure that we group those students together to extend them just like we are the middle and the low during those interventions.
I was just writing myself a note. How many students have maxed out their iReady math score?
Right now we have 5.
5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remind me how many AIG students you had? 30?
30.
Okay. So you're greater than 10%. Actually greater than 15%, so we definitely need a plan, Ms. Hunter.
And not only that, but I think there are students that would proceed with more, I'm going to use the word fidelity, in their iReady diagnostics if they know that there's an opportunity to grow more. You know, AIG students get bored easily, so they just kind of, you know, hey, I can do this, but why push myself forward if it's not going to result in something that is exciting and more challenging to me?
At the beginning of your presentation, I wrote down that percentage because it was of your AIG, because my question was going to be, what are we doing? And you answered all my questions. So I applaud you for your plan, and I look forward to seeing that be in 26, 27, because I think you're on your way there. I appreciate you looking ahead to make sure those students are reached, because you said that they are the hardest ones to reach. Let me ask you, and it may be my ignorance here, what are the vouchers for that your staff is getting as far as attendance vouchers? What does that allow them?
And so according to board policy, that will allow the teachers on a non-instructional day for an optional work day to take that time off. So it takes 13 vouchers to take one day off. But if they wanted to take an hour or 2 hours, it just depends on how many vouchers they've acquired throughout the course of the year for perfect attendance.
Was there a student voucher too, or was that was a teacher?
That's for the teachers. That's for the teachers.
Last year.
Yeah, we did that, I believe it was year before last, wasn't it?
It's been several years, yes, sir.
And make sure that your teachers are continuing to collaborate with the AIG teacher. You remember in a previous principals meeting, Ms. Hoffman presented, so make sure that they're continuing that collaborative effort, because it has to spill over into the classroom for it to have any impact.
Yes, sir.
One thing I'll say, the absenteeism, you worked on really well. And I receive your weekly calls 3 ways every week.
Only 3 ways? I must have clicked the wrong box if you only got it 3 ways.
I think that's great for the community to hear all the stuff you put on there that's going on. So, I mean, I think you're on the right track. Good job.
Well, thank you, sir. And I do have to say, I kind of got a little bit of that from Ms. Falk. I heard where she shared her attendance rate for the week, so I have to give her kudos. So I said, oh, well, that's a great idea. So we started sharing that too.
Well, I think that's the way it should be district-wide, is we work together as a team to do whatever we can do that best suits the needs of our students.
And it starts with awareness.
It does.
Yes, sir.
What works well in one place, chances are it's going to work well somewhere else too.
Well, and on that note, one of the things that we found out at the beginning of the year was last year a lot of our athletes were absent consistently. So we went back to our athletic handbook that also has rules about attendance. And we made sure that our coaches, when they have their parent meeting, that they remind them of that. They have to sign that, recognizing that they have to follow the attendance rules as well. We've had some really great conversations with parents who, like you said, it's all about awareness. And we are trying to prepare them for the workforce, and if you're not at work, you don't get paid.
I'll add one more thing, sorry. Not sorry. Connections and relationships. I heard you say that multiple times, and that right there is why your behavioral incidents you see that decrease. So I love that. I love that language, connections and relationships with your teachers. You said, I think in your morning meetings, making those connections is key for those students. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'll just add a comment too. Just you had mentioned it. It sounds like a lot. 39% of new teachers. Was that right?
Yes, sir.
Which is 4 given to your staff,
Well,
right?
and technically, it'll be 5 once the new band teacher is hired. We have a full-time sub in place. So, yes.
My point is being visible, and you'd mentioned that, and that support for those new teachers as well as your seasoned staff as well, but specifically those new teachers, I think goes a long way. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm in the cafeteria with them when they're in there in the hallways. It's important for the kids, not only for us to have the interactions with the kids, but for the kids to see us have those interactions with each other as adults in the building as well.
I agree.
Thank you.
Last, I'm gonna say one thing. Great job, by the way, and I know that we set our goals, we want to set goals that we can succeed at, but I think you can be a B school by the end of next year. So
Oh, I believe we can too. That's what we've talked about as a staff.
to do that. Second of all, the minor offenses, that's something I've seen everybody's trying this year, is you get their minor incidents are going way up, and their majors are dropping. But I do say that let's make sure we don't get out of hand with that either, that we're writing kids up for just normal classroom management, that we should, that's just management, not necessarily needs to be a write-up. I just can see that snowballing if we're not careful.
And so you're absolutely right. So a minor is not even an office referral. Only a major is an office referral. A minor is just where there is documentation, whereas the teachers, when I used to have my grade book, I'd make a note. I called Shelley's mom, or I called Steve's dad, or whatever I did, I made note of it. So Educator's Handbook with a minor allows the teachers to do that, but we can track it so we can see what those conversations are about. And it is extremely helpful when we have those situations where where students progress to the point where there is a major referral. So then I can go back and look at Educator's Handbook and say, well, Chris, your teacher has already contacted your parent and done X, Y, and Z, so now it's time to do something different.
And if you're tracking it that way, I guess you do have that accountability piece with the teachers that you can go back and say, okay, Johnny was written up 3 times, but now 2 of them times, I don't know that deserved to be wrote up. You know what I'm saying? That's the part I see. But if you're keeping up with it that closely, then you'll know why the teacher did it. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. It's just the minor is documentation that they had a conversation or redirection for the student.
Good.
Coaching versus counseling.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we have Old Dock Elementary School, Ms. Falk and Ms. Cartridge.
Come on down.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Falk, and I'm principal at Old Dock Elementary School. And joining me this evening is Ms. Crystal Carteret, who is she serves as our guidance counselor, but she also serves as our school improvement team chair. So we're going to start off with our school mission. Our mission is to ensure that each student excels to his or her maximum potential in order to build a solid foundation for future success. Our vision is to see our school as being a school of excellence, providing quality education that develops every child socially, emotionally, and academically, thus fostering a lifelong love of learning. Looking at our school information, our current enrollment is 268. We have an EC percentage of 17%. Our AIG is 5%, and our migrant EL is 7.4. You can see for our school demographics that our African-American population is represented by about 7%, our white 61%, Hispanic 24%, American Indian 2%, Tuamah race is 6%. For our staff and faculty, we have a total of 45 employees with 17 teachers. We have 7 teacher assistants, and yes, I do know how many support staff we have. We have 9 on campus that are with us full-time, but if you count the extras that we have coming and going, that would give us a total of 21. And of course, 1 administrator, myself. Our school academic snapshot for 2023-2024, our school performance score was a 64, which is a C. Our school achievement score was 62.1. Our school growth score was 73.6. We did meet our growth status with a negative 1.27. That is a little down from what we had 2022-2023, but we plan on being back to that B status again this year. Our school attendance data. If we look at our school attendance data from last year, our school attendance rate was 91.5%, and our chronic absenteeism rate was 58%. As you can see, we've been doing a little bit better through September, October, and November. We have been trying to implement some things to encourage our students to come. For us, it's a little different because our students depend on their parents to bring them to school. We also battle things such as illnesses. The little ones tend to be a little more sick and have to be out of school for that. So some things that we're doing to focus on that, we too are celebrating the students with perfect attendance. I think that's important to focus on the positive and to encourage. We have been also posting hours on social media. We do perfect attendance for each month, and we have been pleasantly surprised with the number of students that are actually present each month. We've also been doing grade level celebrations for the grade level that has the highest attendance rate. We do a little party. We let them choose. Sometimes it's a pizza party. Sometimes it's an ice cream party, whatever that grade level chooses to do. We also give our students with perfect attendance, we utilize our brag tags, little brag tags with their little necklaces that represent each month that they do have perfect attendance. And we give them our Starbucks, which gives them, they collect Starbucks throughout the month so that they can go to the Starbucks store with Miss Carteret and purchase little items, just a little incentive.
You guys are selling coffee at elementary school?
No, not yet. We're selling all kinds of little goodies, Mr. Strickland. You'll have to come check us out with our little Starbucks. For our special population data shot, you can see for AIG students, we have 13. We have EC students, we have 46 EC students. A majority of that would be speech students. We also have 20 migrant and EL students. And for our growth status, we were positive. We made growth with those particular subgroups. So we're very proud that those needs are being met for those students. Our behavior data snapshot, I included the number, not just the percentage. For one, I felt like the percentage seemed like a lot, so I wanted you to actually be able to see the numbers. So we had 31 minor incidents, and of those 31, 20 were minor and 11 were major incidents. So for September, we had no days of instructional hours lost. For October, we actually had 9.4 days, and I did want to just kind of point out that was because there was one incident that involved multiple people, so multiple people were received disciplinary actions for that. Discipline is very good at Old Dock. Our teachers do a great job of handling most of those incidences in their classrooms. We do document, as well as what Ms. Cullifer was saying, we document those minors in Educator's Handbook just so we can have a paper trail of how many times that we've had to intervene with a student. So if it does move to a major incident, we can refer back to that and we can have that conversation with those parents, the various interventions that have taken place before it gets to a major incident. On our teacher working conditions survey, my school is a good place to work. Our teachers rated that 100%. Our school recruits and retains a diverse staff. That was 70.59%. And our building cleanliness was 58.82%. So our major takeaways there, our teachers feel good about where they work, enjoy being at Old Dock. And over the next 2 years, we will seek to diversify our staff, and we have already been working and making some changes to do that as well. Our building cleanliness, I wanted to elaborate on that one a little bit. Summer before last, we had some situations with our waxing crew and did not feel that our floors had been waxed the way that they should have been. And if you know anything about waxing floors, if you don't wax them and get it perfect the first time, then you're stuck with it for the rest of the year. I will say kudos to Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson. Mr. Beck came in that summer and he actually had someone else to come in and redo our hallways and a few of our classrooms, which made a tremendous difference. And then this past year, he and Mr. Thompson both did a tour of the school and pointed out some things to our custodians that needed to be taken care of over the summer. And I think our school looks great right now. Even Mr. Coleman, I know he's not on the board right this minute, but he has been at our school a few times serving as our resource officer recently, and he was commenting on how good everything looks. So I did want to add that in because our custodian is very proud of the changes that we have made, and she feels really good about it. So Miss Alice has done a great job trying to keep that up and maintain it throughout the school year. For our academic goal, Old Dock Elementary School will increase proficiency and growth across 3rd and 4th grade to achieve a school performance score of 70% or higher by the end of the 2024-2025 school year. In order to do this, we're conducting weekly walkthroughs on each teacher. I'm monitoring lesson plans weekly using the district rubric as a guide. And together as a staff, we are analyzing those monthly walkthrough trends, and during our staff meetings, we do that once a month to kind of see which strategies we're using, which strategies are we not using, and how many of our students are engaged in the learning process. Again, we are disaggregating that data every 2 to 3 weeks to monitor student progress, and we're also sharing intervention groups to maximize human resources throughout our building and to ensure teachers and interventionists are using curriculum-aligned resources. Our cultural goal, Old Dock Elementary School will increase the monthly student attendance rate to greater than 95% across the 2024-2025 school year. I'm trying to report weekly the attendance rate to parents through Thrill Share and Remind. I also try to do a little blurb sometimes about the importance of attendance, why it's important for students to be there. Sometimes we find that a lot of our students that miss are in kindergarten or pre-K, and those are foundational years, and it also sets a precedent for their future years with attendance. So we've been really trying to stress the importance of being there, even for those younger grades, how important it is for them to be there so that they can learn and they don't get behind. Creation of PBIS incentives, those are some steps that we're taking to do to encourage that attendance. Like I said, students are given PBIS or Starbucks in order for attendance, for having that perfect attendance. So they get to use those Starbucks to purchase little things, little items such as pens, visors, little keychains, things like that, candy, little things that children just love to play with and to have. We have also increased the school counselor interventions for social and emotional support, and I'm going to let Ms. Cartridge share that with you because I think that is a key turning point to especially our fourth graders at Old Dock Elementary School. So I'm going to let her share you some of the things that she's been doing with that.
So I do weekly classroom guidance. Every time I meet with the students for 50 minutes, we do a social emotional check-in. They use their Google Classroom. That is 2nd through 4th grade. It only takes about 2 minutes. I always tell Ms. Falk, I'm like, I have them trained. They know when they come in, that's the first thing they do. And that is how I gather data. It also tells you, your students who are chronically absent. So you're not only getting that social emotional piece. I use that to pull small group and I do a quarterly small group throughout the year. And I also use that data for seeing kids individually. So.
You say you see each student 50 minutes?
I see every class every week for 50 minutes.
Every class, 50, okay.
Okay. Some other additional steps that we're taking to improve attendance would be that our teachers are also calling, the staff call parents when students have missed 2 consecutive days, and parent conferences with parents, teachers, and principal after a student has missed 8 days. And I would like to mention Ms. Mears. She has been instrumental in helping us get on track with our attendance letters and having those attendance meetings, and I have been attending those meetings with her as well. to help encourage parents to bring their children to school.
I will add one more thing. Probably about 2 years ago, the county actually purchased me. It's a program, it's called SPOT, and it is social emotional learning. It is very elementary based. It works great for Old Doc. But that is the program that I use when I do the check-ins. So everything's like color-coded, and, you know, they know, like, you know, how are you feeling today? You know, they may be feeling yellow or they may be feeling red, but that is the program that I use to support that. So thank you for purchasing that.
To just elaborate a little bit on that, Ms. Carteret, what she does is she tries to do like a social emotional check-in with students, because we're trying to figure out, why is this child not coming to school? Sometimes it may be that they're not feeling comfortable at school. Maybe someone has said something to a child that makes them unhappy and they don't want to be there, and parents are struggling getting them there. So it's a team effort to try to figure out what is causing the absenteeism. Is it because the child is sick? Is it because the child doesn't want to be at school? Because maybe they're not having those bonds and those friendships with their peers, or those bonds with their teachers. So it is us trying to investigate and figure out a little bit more about what's going on with our students, and seeing if we can meet those needs and get those kids back in school. So our 3-year school performance goals for 2024-2025, we want to be a 70 again. We want to be a 70. We feel like we can meet that goal. For 25-26, we would like to see our school move to a 71.2. And then for 26-27, we would like to see our school be a 72.2. So we would like to see our school move into that B status and remain there. Some challenges and opportunities for success. Our 3rd and 4th graders, strategic and purposeful planning of 3rd and 4th grade interventions in reading and in math. Looking back over the course of last year, we tried to figure out, we have vetted many times why our 3rd grade EOG scores were not where we anticipated them to be at. And one of the areas that we feel like we could improve is making sure that that intervention is targeted and specific to the individual needs of those students, not to the group, but to the individual needs. When we look at our test scores, there were 9 students who missed being proficient by 1 to 2 points. If those students would have made those 1 or 2 points, we would have had 60-some% proficient in 3rd grade. So we feel like it is very doable for us to move those students this year and to push them forward. For our 4th grade, that is our area of concern when it comes to social and emotional needs. We feel like out of the whole school, at this grade level, this is one of our last groups of COVID babies. They were actually in kindergarten when COVID started, but as we well know, the next year was a rough year as well. So we have found that there are a lot of social and emotional needs here, and that just teaching them conflict resolution and just learning how to get along with others is a big challenge. And that is one of the reasons that Ms. Carteret has been working so hard with her social and emotional lessons. Our 3rd grade, we want to make sure that we increase the reading endurance of all of our 3rd graders by practicing fluency. If we talk to our teachers, we know that when students move into the 3rd grade and they have to take the EOG, that is a big transition. It's a huge transition for students. And they have to build up that endurance to be able to read that test and to maintain focus during that test and answer the comprehension questions. Because we're asking them to read passages that a lot of them may not be interested in, that are lengthy, and that some may not find very interesting. So we have to train them to be able to do that. It's just like running for a marathon. You have to prepare by training yourself. They have to train themselves to take the test. So we plan on doing that by practicing fluency. For K-3, we want to make sure that we are using our DIBELS to build reading skills of at-risk students in reading. Our 3rd graders last year, we had 23 students that were in Tier 2 interventions, and going back and drilling back to their skills that they needed to work on in DIBELS was a key to their success. So we want to make sure that we're looking at that for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Our third and fourth grade, we're promoting and pushing SchoolNets because we know those questions in SchoolNet are rigorous and that they will provide additional practice with solving word problems. And then also for our third and fourth grade, we want to make sure that we're following instructional protocols outlined in iReady Math, Ready Reading, Magnetic Reading, and Reading Horizons, because we know those protocols work. Those protocols get our students engaged, and from what I'm seeing as I'm doing walkthroughs with this curriculum is rigorous, and it is pushing our students forward. With the reading, we're seeing a lot more of the writing piece, and it's requiring students to think and to process, and it's taking them to the higher levels of thinking. And for the math, we're seeing a lot more of mathematical discourse, and that the students, even kindergartners, are able to tell you and explain to you how to solve a math problem. So we're excited about that. And that concludes our presentation. Any questions?
Okay. Anybody got any comments or questions?
I don't.
I'll just say I appreciate your efforts on your attendance, battling that. Great job. And then I love the guidance initiative for the social and emotional support as you're getting to know those students. And do you share, my question is, do you share any of that information with parents as needed if you see?
So, I will just add to that because I thought about it. I said 2nd through 4th grade. That is done with the whole school. For kindergarten and first, especially at the beginning of the year, you know, they're not ready to use those Chromebooks.
No, right.
And so I have a different system that I use with them. I actually use cups, and they're color coded. And so they have popsicle sticks and they put their name. But it is a school-wide program. I share the data with the students monthly. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really started trying to do this last year and push forward this year. It takes a while to kind of get your system the way you want it. They did receive that in November, and they're about to receive it again before we go home.
Okay.
So from here on out, they'll receive that monthly. And we communicate together and see if I need to reach parents, or of course they, you know, reach parents prior to me if there is a concern or a need.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a couple comments. I love the format of this and that strategic thinking as far as even when you mentioned like the COVID babies and focusing on the I think it was it the second bullet, the social and emotional needs, that part of it. And kudos also for the positive reinforcement and recognition as it relates to perfect attendance, that piece of it. I think it goes a long ways. Thank you.
I just have one thing. You get these kids in at a pre-K level, 4-year-old. You follow them then through the 4th grade. Do you see the absenteeism follow the student?
I do. It's the same students year after year with, you know, with a few exceptions, but the majority of the really chronic absenteeisms. Now, and I think that's important too that we mention this. Typically, parents think about chronic absenteeism as 20 or more days. That's what they're thinking when it's actually 10 or more days. But yes, we do. We see it follow them. That's why it's so important to start with the pre-K and the kindergarten and to make parents aware of the fact that learning starts in those early grades, and it's foundational, and it's necessary for them to be there to get that foundation so that they can move forward.
One thing, and then, so you got your 17% EC, that's 46 students you said. And when we get to Nakina, it's down to 7%. I know that's, and she said that in her, that y'all do a good job with your EC department. And did you say that a lot of it are speech?
Yes, there are right many of those students that are
A lot of
speech
those are
students, yes.
testing out before they get to middle school.
Before they get to middle school. That's intriguing to me. That's, I won't say an issue, but that's where learning disabilities are, that we're having a lot of speech issues.
Yes, a majority of that would be speech.
Okay. And I should ask this to Nakana, but ISS, do you use ISS at all?
No.
You don't like ISS?
No, not for the babies. I'm gonna be honest with you. I try to find a balance. Of course, there are certain things that you do have to suspend a child for that you don't want to have to, but there are certain situations where you're left with no option. But I try to utilize as many alternative disciplinary actions as possible. The only ISS that I have would be my conference room so that I could monitor them and what they're doing. And it might be a think sheet or reflection sheet, but again, I've got young children. But I may have them doing that, or they may need a little time out. They may need to separate for a little while from their classroom, but after they've had a few minutes, then we can redirect them and put them back in the classroom. So no, we do not have
And
ISS.
well, that's what I mean, and that's what I envision about it when I use that terminology. But even those little kids not going to PE, I know with all my children, if they didn't get PE, it was a big deal. So just wanted to see how you were using, what you were using for your discipline. I think that's it. Oh, how's check-in so far?
Check-ins, especially for fourth grade, look better than they were last year for third grade. That was our biggest concern. Our third graders this year, we have some personnel changes, and I actually have 2 new teachers. I have 3 teachers teaching third grade, and 2 of those are new teachers to the third grade level. They previously taught first grade, but they did a phenomenal job. If I'm not mistaken, theirs were one of the highest in the county.
And what is the class sizes in third and fourth grade?
Class sizes are about 15. That is another strategic plan with that fourth grade. We took our Title I money and we hired another teacher to keep the class sizes low for fourth grade, and because we're doing something a little different with that fourth grade, because again, that fourth grade class is a class that we know is struggling. So we hired that third teacher in there to bring in some intervention pieces. She teaches social studies and science, but she also has enough time in her day to teach or do an intervention for reading and for math.
Smart. Very good. Very smart. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next up, we have South Columbus High School, Ms. Beck, Ms. Sellers, and Mr. Locklear.
Just a couple things before we start. I just want to say 2 things. So number 1, you'll see I have my entire administration team here because I believe in unity. And you will see that we believe in this plan. We know that it's going to work. Number 2, the reason they're here is because I take my job serious in growing leaders. And if I do not have these 2 prepared to be principals, then I have failed them. And so that's why they're here and a part of this presentation tonight. In addition to that, I have to apologize to the board because I did not realize that you were going to get a still shot of our presentation. I thought this was a live and working document, so we had to go in and tweak and add and change some numbers. So some of those numbers are not going to appear on the slide tonight, so I wanted to make sure that you have an accurate copy of that.
First of all, we would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our school improvement plan updates with you. And I would like to begin by sharing our school mission and vision statement. Our mission statement is to develop and enhance the lifelong quest of knowledge by guiding productive individuals, nurturing receptive minds, and maintaining high standards for all students in order to prepare them for a global society. Our school vision statement is that we will maximize academic and social skills for students to become productive college and career-ready citizens. Moving along to our school information, our special populations. Our current enrollment is 667 students. Our EC percentage is 9%, so that's about 60 students. AIG percentage is 14%, which is about 93 students. And our multi-language learners is 3%, which would be about 17 students. We also have 62 total employees, not including custodians, bus drivers, and child nutrition staff, 44 teachers, 5 teacher assistants, 10 support staff, and 3 administrators. So we do have a few vacant positions. We have Spanish and a math position available. However, we have been fortunate enough to tweak our master schedule around where 2 retired teachers have returned. We are also hiring a JROTC teacher, expected to begin in January once he is cleared.
All right, so things we're proud of for the 23-24 school improvement successes. So first of all, Math 1, we had an increase in proficiency by 2.69 points. I contribute a lot of that to foundations of math being taught in the first semester. We really looked hard at that data to place those students, and I think that levels the playing field for them before they enter Math 1. Math 3, we met growth with a negative 0.49. We made growth in 4 out of 6 of our subgroups in math. And in biology, we met growth with 1.65, so we're very close to exceeding growth in biology. Our culture successes, 100% of staff reported that South Columbus High School is a safe place to teach and learn. And I think that is huge. We are continuing to monitor metal detectors heavily. Admin is present every day at all metal detectors. All students that arrive late for school are checked, and we are visible at those detectors in the morning, in between class changes, and at lunchtime. Also, 100% of staff reported that South Columbus High School has a positive environment for teaching and learning. And I think that says a lot of great things about South Columbus High School. All right, so school academic data snapshot. If you look across the past 3 years, we've kind of teeter-tottered right there with a C, just going up and down a little bit with our school performance score. But if you look over at our school growth score, we are trending upwards. So we're heading in the right direction. And then our school index score is the same. We are moving forward. If you look at the 21-22 school year, we were at a negative 8.7 growth. Of course, we have not met growth at South Columbus High School in the past 5 years. This was the year students were returning to school, so that says a lot about COVID and what we received when they returned. But if you look the following year, just what 1 year did of students being back in school, they were able to cut that growth in half. And so we're trending in the right direction. To meet growth, you need to be at a -2 to a +2, and so we are hoping that we could cut that -4 in half.
We have our school attendance data snapshot. 2023-24 year attendance rate was 90.28. Chronic absentee rate was 30%. In September of 2024, it went up to 94.5%. Absentee rate, though, dropped 3%. October 2024, 89.85% with 5%. In November 2024, 89% with 3%. Our major takeaways is we continue to focus on daily attendance at South Columbus High School. We aim to have a daily attendance rate of over 90% monthly. And to help do that, we're going to create a welcoming, engaging school environment. We're having to deal with gangs, bullying, violence, and drug abuse, and we are at a rate of getting rid of some of those troublemakers and making it a safe environment. We are constantly telling the kids about the attendance policy. We are connecting with at-risk students, which building relationships, which is a big one. Looking at the community, socioeconomic status of the student, realizing whether the schools, whether it's school-related for their absentees or is it student-related. We're trying to involve parents by updates and reminders, allowing parents to be at meetings, phone calls, and keeping the parents aware of what's going on with their child. We have award points that we're giving to the students. Ms. Beck has put a lot of things in place. We have cone of ice and coffee on Fridays. They have outside lunch. The phones are allowed to be used in the cafeteria. We have a great spirit week, allowing for pet rallies and other things that we do around the school campus to help the school attendance. Special population data snapshot. Our AIG students and our EC students all met growth. The specialized groups of students are consistently making growth at South Columbus High School. However, we recognize that our white and EDS students, our economically disadvantaged students, are not, which is a focus area for us moving forward. I would like to say that Ms. Percy and Ms. Strickland, who works with our EC students, Inclusion 2, made growth by using different types of collaboration teaching styles, pair teaching, self-reflection, point system for incentives, and peer teaching videos and sharing with Tier 2 and Tier 3 students, which will allow them to gain in growth.
Moving on to our behavior data snapshot. To the left, we have the percent of minor incidents and the percentage of major incidents. I would like to note that moving forward, we would like for our teachers to document more of the minor incidents. Instead, we tend to get more of our office referrals instead. And that number is way higher than the minor incidents, and that's just a documentation thing. So, loss of instructional time, ISS from last year, 2023-2024 school year, in days would be 1,247 days in ISS and 895 OSS. The majority of those, digging into our data, they're 9th and 10th graders. September 2024, ISS 104 days, OSS 49 days. October 2024, ISS 110 days, OSS 135 days. In November, ISS is 116, OSS is 88. So I would also like to note that during the 2023-2024 school year, there were a total of 561 office referrals. This averages to around 62.3 referrals per month over the course of 9 months. This year so far, we have 183 total referrals, which would be 45.75 per month at this rate. So overall referrals may decrease. So that's what we're seeing. Those are trending down. We have made a few changes to our handbook with virtual policies in place. We think that helps with repeat offenders because that's what we're seeing the most of. So, and like I said, and looking at last year's data and even comparing it to this year's data, we're seeing those are mostly 9th and 10th graders. So I think, personally, I believe it's a maturity thing. So I think they're more mature in 11th and 12th grade. They know the ropes, and they know the expectations, so.
All right, so a culture data snapshot. We had some significant results with our teacher working condition survey. So number one was staff retention. 99.9% of teachers said that South Columbus High School is a good place to work and learn. 100% said that there was an atmosphere of mutual respect. This is what you want with your staff. You want them to feel like they're heard and that they're respected. And so we're very proud of that. The second area was teacher support. Feedback from observations was at 97.5%, and evaluation process improves instruction was at 100%. So our teachers feel supported, and that's exactly what you want. That's a testament to of Mr. Thompson, Ms. Sellers, and Ms. Simmons' work last year. And that data tells us, too, that our teachers are buying into the feedback that we're giving them and how this evaluation process is supposed to work. Student conduct, tardiness, and skipping are reported as issues, so we had more than 20% say that that was an issue. Our major takeaways with that is that teachers perceive that South Columbus High School is a good place to work and learn. Our behavior data and teacher perception data does indicate that we have areas for improvement when it comes to some student conduct issues. I will say Ms. Sellers has been working with our beginning teachers. We have 4, I think, in all in that program. We just felt like, and this was something Mr. Thompson, I have to give him credit for this, started a few years back. You know, all beginning teachers have a mentor. He established at South Columbus High School where an administrator leads these beginning teachers as their mentor. And we kept this in place because we just think that it's very important. Our administrators know firsthand what's coming down the pipe, so to speak. We're able to share walkthrough trends with them. We're able to give constructive feedback to ensure that our new teachers are growing. All right, so moving into our goals. You know, we had a change in leadership this year, and I've always thought that it's important when you transition from one school to the next to just really find a focus area or two. So we have 2 goals this year. First is an academic goal. We want to see our overall school performance score grow from 58 to 62 in order to meet or exceed growth. Because like I said a few minutes ago, it has been 5 years since our school has met growth. And so we want to do that across all EOC subjects by the end of this school year. We have stressed that to staff in meetings, and it's time. It's South Columbus High School's year to meet growth. So our action steps are listed across the bottom. Number 1 is lesson planning. Teachers had extensive lesson planning training at Convocation, which I thought was absolutely amazing. We have lesson planning expectations for our entire staff. Those are received and reviewed weekly by administrators, and they're given feedback. Another action step is PLC collaboration. It's important that teachers talk. And so that's what we encourage, and we support collaborative planning. And anytime they have an opportunity to collaborate within the school and across the district, that is always a good thing. And then last is just to monitor. So someone wise once said, inspect what you expect. So, and I'm looking at him, and he's not paying me any attention. But anyway, we want to monitor implementing the district curriculum with fidelity. We have stressed to our staff this year, this is non-negotiable. You guys provided that for them, and that is going to happen. We are going to ensure that that happens this year. It's a roadmap for them. And teachers have asked for it for many years now, and so now they have no excuse. They have it. They have very thorough pacing guides and all of this at their fingertips, all the resources that they need. So we have set the pace that, you know, this is going to be non-negotiable this year, and that they're going to implement the lesson planning focus with fidelity. Just to kind of put it in perspective, I guess, for a moment, with West Columbus School last year when I sat down and spoke with Ms. Hunter and with Dr. Meadows, you know, there were so many different rabbit holes we could run down. And Laura Hunter and I had a conversation, and I remember that day very clearly when we talked about there's lots of different ways we could go with this, but Ms. Beck, if you had to pick one thing, what would it be this year to focus on? And we agreed that it was lesson planning. And I truly believe that us being able to move that school from a -12 to a -8 growth was because of the lesson planning focus and fidelity. So I think that's going to help us move our current -4.13 growth to a -2.
Our other goal, by June 2026, South Columbus High School will foster a positive and inclusive school climate and culture that respects, celebrates diversity, ensuring that all students and staff feel valued, supported, and engaged as evidenced by perception, demographic, and program data. So, the performance indicator is that all teachers are attentive to the students' emotional states, guide students in managing their emotions, and arrange for supports and interventions. The action steps that we'll take, we will develop school-wide expectation for student behavior. And for the teacher to be able to do that, it'll look like they'll be consistent in their discipline. There'll be rewards for good behavior. We have instituted Smart Pass, which cuts down on student movement and students out of the classroom. Another action step is focus on the students' attendance, and we'll do that through remediation, identifying students early who are struggling and dealing with issues at home, intervene early, provide additional support, and involve the community. And then the last action step is develop classroom management plans, set high classroom expectations. We're going to build relationships with our student and teacher, teach engaging content, be consistent in your behavior, and use verbal or nonverbal reinforcement.
Next is our three-year school performance goals. Currently, we sit at a 58, which is a C. At the end of this school year, we would like to see a 62, which would still be a C, but we're moving up. By 2025-2026 school year, a 65, which is still a C, and 2026-27 school year, a 68, which is an even higher C. So our goal ultimately is to increase our growth status to meet and exceed growth.
All right, and lastly, our challenges and opportunities for success. So South Columbus High School has an opportunity to truly engage students in post-secondary success planning. So something the administration team has been working on is a detailed schedule for counselors. We see the importance in them meeting with students on a regular basis, with all students on a regular basis. We think it's important that students know who their counselors are, and so that is one thing that we are currently developing, is a very detailed schedule for counselors to meet with students. Our focus is on growth. So again, we've not made growth in over 5 years, but we are really counting on lesson planning and fidelity to the curriculum. We do not feel like it's that far out of reach. We have a focus on student achievement and growth with our underperforming groups. As Mr. Locklear stated earlier, we think that's going to lead to greater overall student success. Teachers have time built in to their schedules for interventions, but along with the Smart Pass that we purchased about a month ago, we bought a bundle package that included what we call Flex Schedule. So we spoke with our school improvement team, and we have decided to implement that slowly at first, so one time a month. And that Flex Schedule is going to help with the culture of the school. We're going to bring back clubs, but it also gives an additional time for students or teachers to meet with students for an extra hit of intervention. So they're able to lock in students at certain times to meet with them, those that need that extra hit. And then, of course, a reduction in major offenses and an increase in student investment in South Columbus High School. So when they do come to the office for a major offense, we believe in spending time with these students and talking about the mistakes that they've made and what they need to do to get back on track. We make parent contacts. We encourage the teachers to do that and give the parents the opportunity to fix it at home first, because truly that's what we want. And then we are restructuring our student government, increased student agency in the school. So this year, our student government is meeting on a regular basis. We feel like it's very important to hear their voices and their concerns and make adjustments as needed. And just another thing I'll add, and I jotted down the numbers somewhere and I wanted to find them for you, but our teacher attendance, I know the other group spoke on that, and so I was just going to mention briefly. So far this year, we have 184 teacher absences. And I know that sounds like a lot, but when you look at the number of staff we had, and this is just certified teachers, and you divide that number across the board, it averages out to about 4 absences per teacher. And so that's about 1 per month. So I've been pretty pleased with that number so far. So we hope to maintain that and continue to reward teachers for their attendance.
All right. What questions do you have for us?
Any comments, questions from the board?
None from me.
I do have one, just I guess a comment or question or whatever. You said that you see some gang activity. Do you feel like a lot of your problems at school are based around gangs?
The major incidents are. We've had, as far as fights, I could say we've only had about 5 this year. And we could probably say 3 of them was gang-related, or about 3. But we have pretty much got those students out and got them virtual. And I can tell you within the last month, it's been like a different school.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you get to the 3 or the 2 or 3 that are really causing problems. And once they get out and the students realize that, it's just like totally different atmosphere that we have at our school. And Miss Beck has really been on that, and she's been setting the precedents, and we have been letting the students know that this is what's going to happen. And I would say you got 95% of our students are great students. 5%, they just don't know which way they want to go, and they'll follow those few that just don't want to be there. But with the actions that we've already seen take place within our school in the last month or so in removing these students, I've seen a big change in our conduct, in our behavior, in incidents. And like I said, I mean, one of the biggest things that I'm pushing for, because I'm over the discipline, is that our teachers, it is important that they build those relationships with the students and the parents.
Yep.
And allow the parents the chance to discipline their child and cut down on these incidents that are really minors when you really take a look at them, instead of major incidents. And so we're going to work on that, and Ms. Beck has already given us the green light to be able to do that, and we're going to put that in as a training at our after-school meetings. We're going to try to teach the teachers the difference, and because sometimes they just need to realize that, you know, you don't have to call the administrator every time something happens, and give the parents back the reins to be able to raise their child and give them a chance to discipline them accordingly.
Sounds like what you're doing is working.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I'll just add this. as far as using the word gangs, we've not seen any gang paraphernalia, if you will, brought into the school.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not seeing what you see on the news or what you think of when people use the word or the term gang. It's more so of students associating with certain students. These people are in my group. These people are in my clique. And that kind of thing. Or we're from this community and we're from this community. So I think when he uses that word gang, that's what we mean, is that these children stick together. They're in this clique, so to speak, and they're in this clique. But we are on top of that, and I appreciate the support that you all have given us and that Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson have given us with taking the lead way with virtual and changing up our policies and procedures at school just a little to be able to crack down on that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing. With Smart Pass, you said you had just implemented that. I would really like, let's say after a 9-week implementation period, I'd like for you to compare your discipline data prior to Smart Pass versus with the Smart Pass implementation. Because I know keeping students in class does make a difference, but I would like to see what kind of difference it makes in the actual discipline.
I just have, were you getting ready to speak?
And if you're not familiar with Smart Pass, do most of y'all, do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. And so we're able to block students who have maybe been in fights earlier in the year or don't need to be out of class together at the same time. We're able to go in and program the system where it blocks one or the other until the other student returns to class.
Just a few positive things I want to note. I actually wrote this down early in when you were talking about, I think, your cultural snapshot. And then you said it, Ms. Beck, you do seem to have teacher buy-in, and that is key. That comes from visibility of your administration, and you said you are seen, you are floating, and that makes the positive environment. So thank you. And I just want to, as far as you may not have the gangs aligned, but when you have groups aligning, that's, almost the beginning. So I'm sure you're staying on that and paying attention to that, because that is the beginning that's the makings of gangs. So, and I wrote down this as you were talking about your lesson plans being the focus. If our teachers have to understand, if we're failing to plan, we're planning to fail. And so targeting those lesson plans, thank you. And I enjoyed your presentation, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good.
All right.
We good?
Good.
All right, thank you for your time.
presentation.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to recommend that the board approve the school improvement plans as they were presented by East Columbus Junior Senior High School, Nakana Middle School, Old Dock Elementary School, and South Columbus High School.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the school improvement plans for East Columbus Junior Senior High School, Nakana Middle School, Old Dock Elementary School, and South Columbus High School. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Got a second. We got a first by Dr. Strickland, got a second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. They're approved.
I do want to make one comment. I appreciate the structure of the school improvement plans this year.
Me too.
And you can
Well,
contribute that to Ms.
Thank you.
Hunter.
Well, I said that in the last meeting. It's really,
Yep.
they've made more sense to me than they ever have. But
Absolutely.
I was in 5 schools this past week.
Right.
I asked the principals what they thought, each one of them, and all 5 of them gave me the same answer. We loved it.
Right. And I will say this, if you remember when the teacher working condition survey was released, the board was concerned about the cleanliness because it wasn't just one school, it was across the district. We've worked extremely hard, Mr. Thompson and I both, to get that turned around, and I feel like our schools are much cleaner, and a cleaner environment's a better environment for students to learn in. So.
And I'll also say thank you, Ms. Hunter, for explaining
Yeah.
school growth scores to us.
Yeah.
that didn't totally go over my head this year. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to student support services. There's none there. We'll go to auxiliary services. Mr. Thompson.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, first we have item for review of information, invoice 8979, that is from LS3P in the amount of $122,084.23. That is the end of the schematic design phase and now moving into the design development, which we'll talk a little bit more tonight as they present. So that's where we're at there. Second, Mr. Chairman, we have a review and action on a proposal from RP Native Construction for the East Columbus Courtyard project. This scope of work will take out the concrete that's out in front of the school and replace the gutter drains. They'll be providing a new catch basin for all the water damage and the water problems that we have in front of East Columbus School there in the courtyard. They will replace the concrete, remove the trees from the courtyard planter, and also replace one of the sidewalks that is broken up going to the auditorium. This is in the amount of $165,000. And again, that is for RP Native Construction. This is a local group that we will be using. And might I add, this is probably about half of the price of what it was proposed last time. So,
I was going to ask, did we not approve that the last time?
well, we looked at it, but we never approved it. We discussed it. We decided to go back to the table and do some more modifications and look at that more in depth, and we have gotten a better price.
I thought we approved it and it was supposed to be done 2 summers ago. And it was, or last summer, and it was delayed, so.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the proposal from RP Native Construction LLC in relation to the courtyard at East Columbus Junior Senior High School.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the contract or the proposal from RP Native Construction to redo the courtyard and surrounding area there at East Columbus Junior Senior High School. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Worley, a second from Ms. Grice. Any discussion?
It specifically says what is excluded, repair of buried lines and wiring and planters. Is that not going to be addressed, or are we doing that internally?
That'll be something that we do internal.
Okay.
Right,
Yes.
so all of that pretty much is
If need
outdated.
be.
And we will probably go a different route with LED.
Okay.
Mr. Duncan will take care of that in-house.
I know what's going to happen and the answer to this, but I'm still going to put my 2 cents in. Please, when we get out there and this demo's done, that we have multiple pictures and what we find there, because it's going to be a constant issue at that school and in South Columbus as well.
That's right.
They're identical. So for whatever reason, South Columbus is not busted up as bad as East, but it can happen any day, I imagine.
Well, the biggest thing is we've been able to keep the drain lines flushed at South Columbus and keep them open. And at East Columbus, I'm not sure they've ever worked right since the school was put in.
And from my understanding, the size of that drain is a big problem. We discussed that in some previous meetings. So
we have.
Please make sure that we do what we have to.
Okay.
We'll certainly do it.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion's carried. Proposal's approved.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we also have a review and action on the structured cabling service at the Williams Township project. This will be for network cabling, speakers, security camera, access points, and fiber for the new gym and classrooms. This bid is actually under state contract. This is also a company that we have used multiple times in the future. This is in the amount, in the past. This is in the amount of $40,974.59.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the structured cable and services as presented by Mr. Thompson for the Williams Township Gym project.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the contract for the structured cabling at Williams Township, the new Williams Township gym with NCDIT for $40,974.59. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Strickland. Don't throw me out yet.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The proposal's approved.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next we have review and action on our copy machine quotes. The Sistel bid was chosen in the amount of $156,798.36. This is a savings from last year of $6,076.97. So we have saved money from our previous contract. This will be providing new machines at a faster rate, and which will eliminate the amount of time it takes teachers to run copies. Also, it's a higher quality machine, so you have a better quality in your product. Also, our reports from the previous machines, the amount of toner that the machines held was very minimal, and we had to wait on the toner to be shipped from the company. So when it ran out, then the company had to come and send us the toner. So we had issues there, but all of those things have been addressed and will be taken care of in this contract.
And saving us money?
And saving us money.
And the teachers did, they recommended that we go with a faster copier, so we met that criteria as well. So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the copier quote from Sistel as presented.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the new copier contract with Sistel for $156,798.36. What's the pleasure of the board? Got a motion by Ms. Grice?
Second.
Second by Dr. Strickland. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it. The copier contract's approved.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Chairman, at this time, we have our partners from LS3P here. They're going to come and do a presentation and informational item on the new East Columbus project.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Matt. Appreciate it. Yeah. Glad you're here.
We'll rearrange the room a little bit. Thank you, sir.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Put my glasses back on. Thought I could see it without them. And then later, kids.
Okay, great. Matt, we'll turn that over to you. Well, you good?
We can't do that in slideshow.
Great. Well, good evening. I'm Charles Boney with LS3P Associates, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Matt Bramstead, whom you know very well, I believe, Isela Martinez on the left side. Corey Redmond from Metcom Construction is joining us, and then behind us we have Gene and Mark there, whom you've met in the past. We've been working very closely, and I must say that this is an exciting time in the life of this school. We've been moving forward, working on schematic design documents. As I listened to the reports that preceded us, I realized that the students who are going to begin the pre-K and first grade classrooms are going to be largely experiencing their first Christmas where they're aware of Santa Claus. They have perfect attendance right now. They have a straight A record. And so we are beginning this school project with very, very good records, and look forward to moving on into the next phases. As I said, we have been working very hard with Metcon Construction on pricing, and our team is working also with our other colleagues in putting everything together. You see with us the list of people that are involved in this project. It's not just the four of us and the two of us, the six of us that are here. There are a lot of people involved in putting this school together. We've also been working very closely with Mr. Beck and with his school administration team to make this school the best school that it can be. We're on schedule now. We're moving forward very rapidly, and look forward to continuing tonight with this presentation from my colleagues. I'm going to turn it over to Matt Bramstead, whom excuse me, I believe we'll turn it over to Isela to talk first, or are we going to Matt first? Okay.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you to the board. And I do want to just briefly mention special thanks to the steering committee who've sat in on every meeting and who have helped lead the group. So thank you to Mr. Beck, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Ward, Ms. Linthal, Dr. Hill, and Mr. Sellers. Our team has been committed to a collaborative design process, and so that means that at every meeting we're able to share ideas, to give feedback, and so we've gone through step 1 of 3 steps for the design process. So we're still early, still in that early part of the design process. What comes next is more refinement. So we'll move from schematic design into design development, and that will end in the springtime of this next year. After design development, we will move into a final documentation phase, and then our partners here, Metcon, will put together the final GMP before we move into construction. And as Charles alluded to, occupancy will be fall of 2027. I'm going to turn it over to Isela, who will talk about the community engagement process.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. I want to emphasize how excited we are to have successful community engagement. We were a little bit worried because it was on presidential debate night, but we had an outstanding outturn. We had a community that was vocal and shared many of their thoughts. The community engagement day was set up in different stations so that we had different ideas, and they had images that were intended to spark communication and ideas. We as a team collaboratively jotted down their ideas, and then we honed everything down into a couple of points that we do intend and have used for our design and development. Some of the things we heard was that the community wanted a school that emphasized community engagement, that it was collaborative, that had parent interaction opportunities. They also emphasized wanting the school to feel as it was united and had fellowship and togetherness. I think that we were very successful in taking their comments and putting them into the design. Thank you. Turning it over back to Matt so that he can talk about design.
So you have a much lengthier booklet in your hands that can be a leave behind and an early Christmas present. But this is the condensed version. So this is the conceptual site plan. The area in the middle is our focus right now, and that is the main building and surrounding parking, play fields. And then to the right and left of that, the darker shaded areas include a phase 2 development. And so you'll see as we move forward and get into costs that really our focus right now is on the building and setting that up for success, making sure that we have ample space in the back for bus parking. So if I walk you through some of the site features here, on the bottom left, the 2 red dots are the entrances and exit points. We have a nice entry drive and drop-off loop, plenty of parking spaces out front. The main entry is in the middle of this symmetrical building footprint. Off to the back is the bus parking and service entry. And then each of the wings on the left and right are the younger elementary wings that have playgrounds associated and are adjacent. There's an area for future expansion off the far right wing. And then off to the east side of the site, we have additional space for ball fields and another access road. And looking at the floor plan, this is a two-story building, and so on the first floor, we have the main elementary classrooms. The building is laid out with a singular main entrance with admin space directly in the center. A lot of the shared spaces, including media center, art, band, ECS, those are all gathered right in the middle and centrally located, along with the gymnasium and dining facilities. There are two main entrances, one out front by admin, and then off the gymnasium is a secondary event entrance. Flanking the middle of the building would be both the lower and the upper elementary classroom wings. And as I mentioned, the far right one has additional space for future expansion. On the second floor, we have the middle school classrooms. In the middle includes specialty classrooms and also a student engagement study space adjacent to the elevator and main staircase. From an exterior design standpoint, the building presents itself upon the main entrance. You can see there's ample site space that serves as a buffer, allowing for that parking and drop-off sequence. The two-story portion has a welcoming main entrance and overhang. On either side of the entrance, you see a one-story portion, and that's the lower and upper elementary wings. On the back side of the building, we have a secondary event space, and that includes bus parking and drop-off. And on the right side of the image, we see the lower elementary wing. The event entrance has a covered canopy and is also adjacent to the media center with some outdoor space. This is a high-level overview of where we're at to date from a design standpoint. So I do want to turn over at this point to give you an update on the cost and turn it over to Metcon.
So where we are today, we're versus where we started when we first put together the conceptual SD budget, we were looking at $489 a square foot. And through value engineering efforts through this entire team, we've gotten that at this point down to $428 a square foot. So though we are still not at our ideal goal budget, we're going to continue our value engineering efforts through the design development phase and look for every opportunity we can to still give this school district the school that they wanted and that was designed for them within the budgetary margins. The Phase 2 that is noted there was part of the original budget, and so that includes some assumptions that we made in the early budget, one of which being not knowing what we were going to have to do with the site with regard to cutting and filling, and so we assumed some aggregate piers. We removed that out to value engineer it. We'll look at that when we have the design development drawings. We also looked at taking out for this particular phase of the projects, the exclusive or the extensive site work that is involved with the athletic fields, and the conversations expanded to looking to do that in the Phase 2, and that's the number that you see represented there. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions on any of that.
We have one more slide, and then we can open it up to full questions. So where do we go from here? As of to date, we have completed the schematic design phase. Our next phase would be design development, and that would be the spring of 2025. And then we'd move, at that phase, we will come back to the board and once again present an update as well as a cost update. So that will be a much more detailed design and detailed cost estimate. From design development, we would move into construction documents in the summer, and then in the fall of 2025, that would be when our final cost information, the guaranteed maximum price, would be put together. And we would begin construction soon after. And lastly, we would be open for school in the fall of 2027. So as Charles started out, we've been very excited to be on this team, to work collaboratively together, and we look forward to the next phase of work and would love to open it up to any questions that you have at this time.
And maybe you did and I didn't hear. Explain soft cost to me.
Soft costs, okay, so what you see in the two breakouts of those numbers would be everything that goes into the building as that base bid number. The soft costs are the things that I heard somebody say if you turn the building over and shake it, it would fall out, like the furniture, fixtures, furniture, equipment. We've got a lot of the owner costs that aren't directly related to construction but are supporting the construction, like special inspections. That happens during the construction process, but it's captured in the soft cost numbers. And then lastly would be design fees. There's a list that we have that has about 15 or so items that are identified. And so altogether, that's the total value of the total of the soft costs.
Okay. Thanks.
You better a lot of stuff fall out for $9 million when you shake it.
Yep.
And we do have a breakdown, so I can read off what some of those items are. Okay, so we have subsurface materials testing and special inspections. We have the NCDENR, so the environmental cost, the furniture costs, the AV and equipment costs, permitting fees, administration costs, legal fees, appraisal and survey fees, commissioning, which means testing of all the systems once it's built. The commissioning is the process in which everything is tested to make sure it works, like the HVAC system, electrical. We have a phase 1 environmental report that has been conducted, a traffic study with NCDOT. There are 2 contingencies, so these are large numbers here, 750,000, which is an owner contingency right now, so it helps to cover any of the costs here that have not been accounted for. And then there's also a contingency for design-related items. And then I mentioned we have the design fees. So altogether, that's the total of the soft costs.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will add, a lot of these soft costs are third-party entities, like you mentioned, the commissioning of the building. And a lot of these things are required by law on a project this big. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And the rest of them are really good ideas, like that commissioning agency. That's a third party that's going to start at this equipment. I think that's going to solve a lot of our problems we have at the other 2 schools with the heating and air, I hope. So it seems like a big number, but it's a lot of things in there that is for our betterment as a district.
And in the early proposal, have you even gone to thinking about the HVAC? Is it going to be geothermal or?
That's our plan.
Yeah, currently we have geothermal as the main mechanical system.
Closed
And
loop?
so, yes, and so the benefit is that we don't have other fuel sources readily available, and geothermal long-term will provide much lower maintenance costs. And so we're seeing that it's over the past couple years, the cost for installation of geothermal has come down. The numbers that Metcon has in their estimate are very competitive. Our engineers have reviewed them, and so we believe that that's the best system for this particular site.
I know a lot of, as I'm new to the board, some of these things may have already been discussed, so I apologize if I'm asking a question that's already been asked. But in looking at the lay of the land, so to speak, for the school and the site, and the highway and the intersection, which is a big concern for that community, being a working class community, where are we on a DOT traffic study addressing just that Highway 211 and that intersection? Knowing that community, it's, like I said, a working class community. You've got log trucks, you've got heavy equipment moving through there. It's a very busy area. So where are we on a DOT traffic study?
I know this is an ongoing study, and Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson have been working more directly with NCDOT on these aspects.
So there will be a turn lane, at a third lane, which is a turning lane on 211. We also have 3 access points.
I see the 3.
To the
right.
campus, so that should help. And he is correct, we're continuing to work with NCDOT to fine-tune the final results for traffic flow.
And they're currently doing a study as we speak. I mean, they're monitoring the traffic there to decide what they want to do at the main intersection as well. So they're looking at the traffic, knowing that the school is going there now. So they'll be taking all of that into account as they're planning that traffic flow study.
Great. As far as a turning lane going in, I may be asking questions that we don't even know the answer to yet. Is it like a middle lane? As far as, or
It's going to depend on what the traffic flow study says. For right now, we're not sure.
Okay.
More than likely, it will not be a center turn lane. They hate to use them anymore, but especially in that area.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a decel and XL lane, if y'all agree, probably.
It's going to depend on what they're studying.
I think one of the
State's going to decide that.
Right.
One of the other important things that we can do on our school site to help with traffic is to reduce the amount of traffic out there on the street. And so we will loop our traffic back through the site, create some useful driveways, but also create useful paths through the parking lots or to channel traffic. So early in the morning, late in the afternoon, for pickup and discharge, we don't have that traffic sitting out on the street.
Right.
The stacking area that we're designing right now is way bigger than what was at Tabor City and West Columbus too. The parking area and the stacking area for our traffic is much larger.
So
We shouldn't have anyone on the highway.
And my next question, it might be trivial to some of you, but knowing this community and knowing some of the folks who will be dropping off children, you may have parents or dads pulling a trailer, pulling in there. Are we allowing ample use of our space as far as that car rider line where they're, able to make turns and curbing and such?
How big a trailer? There will be traffic studies that will put in the proper turning radiuses for I would say most normal things. I hope we will not anticipate a tractor trailer rig coming through there.
I won't think we'll have a tractor trailer, but a tag along a gooseneck or something. We see that at East Columbus. We see parents pulling through. So in this area,
Sure.
dropping children off, pulling a piece of equipment behind a pickup truck, so to speak.
You
So
got a third
just
wheel.
knowing that community.
Yeah, third wheel probably, we'll keep that in mind.
All right. Any other questions? I don't have any, sorry. I'm still trying to be the chairman over here.
Any other questions?
Okay, if not, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board approve the move to the design and development phase of the construction of the new school in the East End.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we move to the design development phase of construction for the new school. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Worley, Second by Dr. Strickland. Any discussion? Here.
One last thing. Where are we at on any other community meetings? What is our, is there anything else?
That's a great question. We have not scheduled one, but we are planning to meet with the students and the faculty in the design development phase. That was one that we had intended to do during schematic design, and due to scheduling, we had to shift. And so we certainly are wanting to meet with all the students from each grade level, and then give staff an opportunity to meet and discuss the more specific aspects of the classrooms and layouts.
And we'll also be discussing with our community when we start talking about colors and mascots and things of that nature, not just students, but students, faculty, and community members alike.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the motion's carried. We'll move to the design development phase.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so
Jim.
much. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it.
See you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
You too. Merry Christmas, guys. What's his name?
Okay, at this point, we'll move to general items, and Mr. Peck.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we have in-state, overnight, and out-of-state field trip request. Acmedoka Elementary School is requesting for their Beta Club to travel to Greensboro on January the 31st through February the 2nd. Williams Township is doing likewise. And then Williams Township is requesting an out-of-state field trip to Myrtle Beach, April 3rd, 2025. Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve those 3 field trip requests.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the 3 field trips presented tonight by him. To have a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Strickland. Second by Mr. Irvin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, they 3 are approved.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have additional fundraiser request, one from Nakana Middle School. Nakana is wishing to add school dances to their fundraiser, and East Columbus is wanting to add a Lift Fest to their fundraiser request. So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the additional fundraiser request presented from Nakana Middle School and East Columbus Junior Senior High School.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the fundraiser request for Nakana Middle and East Columbus Junior Senior High School. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Grice,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Strickland. Any discussion?
Yes. What is the lift-a-thon?
What is what?
The lift-a-thon, it's weightlifting,
Yeah.
just like a hit-a-thon.
Really?
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
get
So
somebody to
this gonna be-
sponsor their reps.
You pledge
You pledge to
donations.
donate so much weight, so much
Money
per
for every
pound lifted or whatever.
And they're looking for volunteers, you can volunteer.
Okay.
$10 a pound for you, big boy.
I would,
They'll be calling you.
yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna find out about this. All right, I guess you're saying I'm gonna have to experience this on my own, is what you're saying. Okay.
Any
Thank you.
more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion's carried, the 2 fundraisers are approved.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have dates to remember. December the 20th is early release, December the 23rd through January the 2nd are holiday and annual leave dates. January the 3rd is an optional work day, and January the 13th, we will have our next board meeting, and CCCA will do their school improvement plan presentation.
Is January 13th a holiday?
Is that Martin Luther?
Uh-huh, I believe it is.
All right, that brings us to,
Hold on,
No,
Steve.
it's not.
okay.
It's not a holiday.
No,
When is the holiday?
it's the 20th.
Okay.
It's not.
And this will put us back on our regular
This will put us
second
back
Sunday.
on our regular schedule.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for being willing to change for me.
No, it weren't just that, it was a lot. We've
We've had
had
several
all kinds of men.
conflicts.
Okay, that brings us down to finance. Turn it over to Mr. Nolan.
Good afternoon. I appreciate your time. Just wanted to touch base real quick on our finances. So we're halfway through the school year. Our expense point is right at the halfway point. We've expensed 48% of our budget, which is approximately $32.8 million. We have approximately 52% of our budget remaining for the year at $36.2 million. That concludes my finance update, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any more in open session, Mr. Beck? We need to, no. We need a motion for closed session. Yeah.
I move that Columbus County Board of Education go to closed session in accordance with Open Meeting Law, GS 143-318, .11A13. One, to discuss information that is privileged, confidential, or not public record. Three, consult with attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and public body.
Got a motion for open session, or closed session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We're now in closed session.